She touched his face. Not a sister's casual greeting, not a friendly pat on the shoulder. She pressed her palm flat against my husband's cheek and looked up at him like I didn't even exist. And the worst part? He smiled. Right there at the table, my parents' living room, my grandmother's china on the shelf, my mom's green bean casserole still warm on the stove. My little sister made her move on the man I'd brought home to meet my family. Again, for the 8th time in my life. But this time was different. This time I had a plan. My name is Lauren. I'm 31 years old, I live in Chicago, and for most of my adult life I have been the invisible sister. Not invisible like nobody notices you. Invisible like everyone notices your sister and you're just the background she stands in front of. My sister Cassie is 2 years younger than me. She is blonde, effortlessly thin, and has one of those laughs that makes men feel like they invented humor. High, breathless. With this little catch at the end like she can barely contain herself. I've heard that laugh directed at 9 different men who told me they loved me. 9. The first time was when I was 19. His name was Tyler. We had been together almost a year. I was saving up to buy him a birthday present with my library job paycheck when I came back to our shared dorm early and found them, in my bed. Cassie cried, said he came on to her, said she didn't know what she was doing. My mom said, "She's your sister, family is forever, boys come and go." And that became the sentence I lived inside of for the next 12 years. Daniel, Josh, Ryan, Marcus. 4 more after Tyler, and every single one of them walked straight into her orbit the moment I made the mistake of introducing them. By 26, I stopped dating entirely, threw myself into work. I'm in brand strategy at a mid-size firm, good salary, long hours, perfect excuse to keep my personal life sealed off from the family. Then Cassie got married. His name was Ethan Morrison. Sweet guy, quiet, worked in IT. Looked at Cassie like she hung the moon and was genuinely surprised she'd chosen him. I wanted to warn him. I really did. Instead, I smiled and bought them a KitchenAid mixer off their registry. They lasted 3 years. Ethan got promoted. They bought a house in the suburbs. Cassie got bored. Started an affair with his boss, a married father of 2, and when Ethan found out, it broke him completely. I ran into him at a coffee shop 6 months after she moved out. He looked like he'd aged a decade. He got a lawyer, a very good one apparently. The divorce was vicious. Cassie wanted the house, half his retirement, alimony. She got a fraction of what she demanded. I didn't know much about the proceedings. Cassie had stopped talking to me when I refused to take her side. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, Cassie moved back into our parents' house in Evanston, and that's when I met Nathan. I met Nathan at a conference in downtown Chicago, funny, grounded, the kind of guy who texts back in full sentences. We took things slow 4 months before I even mentioned him to my mother, and when she pushed me to bring him to Sunday dinner, I should have said no, but I didn't. And the second Cassie looked up from the couch and saw him walk through the door, I watched something switch on behind her eyes. The same switch, the same look, the same calculation. Except this time, I was ready. After the dinner, I went home and pulled up my browser. Typed in one search, Ethan Morrison, divorce attorney, Chicago. It took 15 minutes to find him. His name was Daniel Archer, Archer & Associates, high net worth divorce cases, mid-30s, dark hair, professional headshot, conventionally good-looking in that polished press conference way. I called his office Monday morning and asked for a consultation. He had an opening that afternoon. His office was all glass and city views and the kind of silence that expensive buildings have. He walked in, shook my hand, and said, "How can I help you today?" I said, "What I'm about to propose is not exactly a legal matter." He raised one eyebrow, just one. I appreciated the economy of that, so I told him everything. Tyler, Daniel, Josh, Ryan, Marcus. The garage at my parents' house where I'd found Nathan and Cassie 3 weeks earlier. She had both hands on his chest. He wasn't pulling away. I told Daniel Archer every single bit of it. And then I said, "I want to hire you, not for legal work. I want you to pretend to be my boyfriend. I want to introduce you to my family. I want to see what Cassie does, and I want everyone else to see it too." He leaned back in his chair. "That's an interesting proposition. I'll pay your hourly rate." "It's not about the money, Miss Calloway. It's about ethics. You represented Ethan," I said. "I saw what she put him through." "I'm guessing you did too." His jaw tightened, just slightly. "What's your timeline?" he asked. We met 3 more times to plan it out. He was meticulous. Wanted to know Cassie's patterns, her tells, her escalation timeline. During one of those meetings, he pulled a folder from his desk. Inside were transcripts. Documented affairs, 5 different men during her 3-year marriage to Ethan. She filed a bar complaint against me after the divorce, he said quietly. Claimed I manufactured evidence. It took months to clear my name. I stared at the papers. "So yes," he continued, "I have my own reasons for being here. Call it petty if you want. But I watched your sister almost destroy a good man, and she tried to take me down for doing my job. We started the performance 2 weeks later. Coffee photos, dinner shots, a concert. The kind of thing real couples post. Mom called within 24 hours. Maya Lauren, he's handsome. When do we meet him?" I knew that would get back to Cassie immediately. Sure enough, that evening, Cassie texted Daniel directly, "Wow, you two look serious. So happy for you both." She put a smiley face. Daniel screenshot it, sent it to me. She's panicking, he wrote. Over the following weeks, the texts escalated. Memes, restaurant recommendations. A selfie she accidentally sent and then immediately apologized for. Every single message documented. 3 days before my parents' anniversary party, the party we'd chosen as our endgame, Daniel met Cassie for coffee while I was at work. He hadn't told me about it until he showed up at my apartment that evening, expression grim, jaw tight. She made her play, he said. She told me you're unstable. That you've always been jealous of her. That a guy like me deserves someone less broken. He paused. Then she put her hand on my leg. My stomach dropped, not because of what she'd said about me, but because of what came next. She asked me to meet her tonight, alone. She said she had something important to show me. I looked at him. And what did you say? He reached into his jacket and slid his phone across the table. I said yes. My parents' anniversary party was at a rented venue on the waterfront, 200 guests, a live band, an open bar, the kind of night that exists to be remembered. I wore a deep green dress, the kind I'd never usually wear, fitted, deliberate. Daniel picked me up at 6. Ready? He asked when I opened the door. Not even slightly. Let's go. We arrived late. The party was already moving. I spotted Cassie the moment we walked in. White dress, of course. Tight low. Impossible to overlook at our parents' anniversary party. She made a beeline across the room the second she saw us. Lauren, oh my gosh, you made it. She hugged me first, quick, perfunctory, then turned to Daniel with a longer, slower embrace. Her hand stayed on his arm half a second too long. You must be Daniel. Lauren has told me so much about you. She's mentioned you too, Daniel said. Warm, neutral, perfect. We worked the room for 2 hours. Cassie kept reappearing at Daniel's elbow, always in his sightline, always finding a reason to touch his arm, his shoulder, his wrist. Around 8, the band took a break. That's when she moved. She caught Daniel near the balcony doors and leaned in close to whisper something. He nodded. She led. He followed. I counted to 40. Then I followed. The balcony was dark, water below. String lights above. I stood in the doorway back against the wall, invisible. There's something I need to tell you, Cassie was saying, her back to the railing. What's that? Daniel asked. Lauren isn't who she lets on. She's done this before. Found a guy, gotten serious fast, then pushed him away because she can't handle real intimacy. I've watched it happen over and over. I'm worried about you. That's very thoughtful, Daniel said evenly. Cassie moved a step closer. She's my sister and I love her, but a man like you deserve someone who actually knows how to let someone in. She put her hand on his chest. Someone like me, she said. That's when I stepped out of the shadows. I thought you might say that. Cassie jumped back. Lauren, this isn't what? My voice was steady, calm, something I'd been rehearsing for 12 years. Isn't you hitting on my boyfriend at our parents' anniversary party? 'Cause from here, that's precisely what it looks like. You don't understand what Daniel, I said. Tell her. He reached into his jacket pocket and held up his phone. His firm's name was on the screen. Cassie. My name is Daniel Archer. I represented your ex-husband Ethan Morrison in your divorce proceedings. The color left her face in one clean wave. That's not possible. You and Lauren, you've been setting you up, I said, for 2 months. Every text, every selfie, every coffee meeting, all of it documented. This is entrapment. Entrapment requires law enforcement, Daniel said quietly. I'm a private citizen who agreed to help someone expose a pattern of behavior, that's all. Cassie's eyes filled with tears, real ones this time. No performance. Lauren, please, I'm your sister. The way you were mine, I said, with Tyler, with Daniel, with Josh, with Ryan, with Marcus, with Nathan. She went silent. I held up my phone. I have every text you sent him. Every attempt to undermine me, every move you made, and tonight I'm showing Mom and Dad. All of it. She stared at me like I was a stranger. Maybe I was. Maybe that was the point. We sat in a small room off the main hall. Me, Daniel, Cassie, my parents. I laid out everything, the years, the men, the screenshots, the documentation. My mother cried quietly. My father's face went red, then pale, then red again. Cassie tried to deny it, said I was jealous. Said I was twisting the truth. Then Daniel opened his folder. Mr. and Mrs. Calloway, I need you to understand something. During my representation of Ethan Morrison, I documented affairs with 5 separate individuals during their 3-year marriage. Your daughter attempted to financially ruin a decent man, and when she couldn't, she filed a false complaint against my license. This is a documented pattern. Lauren didn't deserve to spend her life being victimized by someone who was supposed to love her. My father looked at Cassie. Is any of this true? She opened her mouth, closed it. Opened it again. Some of it, maybe. But stop. My father's voice came out low and final. No more lies. My mother looked at Cassie. I think you need to leave. Mom, we'll talk. But not tonight. Please go. I heard Cassie's heels on the hardwood floor, the push-bar click of the exit door, and then silence. My mother reached across the table and took both of my hands. Lauren, I'm so sorry. All those years, all those boys. We should have protected you. We should have seen it. I tried to tell you, I said. I know. And we made excuses because it was easier. That was wrong. And we're sorry. She looked at Daniel. Thank you for helping her. He smiled, not his professional smile. A real one. She's worth helping, he said simply. We didn't go back to the party. We stayed in that small room and talked, my parents asking questions, me finally answering them. All of it, everything I'd swallowed for over a decade. In the car afterward, Daniel and I sat in silence for a long moment. You okay? He finally asked. I don't know. I thought I'd feel vindicated. Mostly, I just feel empty. That's normal. You've been carrying it for a long time. He reached over and took my hand. What happens now? I don't know that either. Well, he said. Somewhere in the middle of all this, it stopped being a performance for me. The plan, the setup, the 2 months, all of it was real enough that I started seeing something I didn't expect to see. I looked at our hands. What did you see? You, he said. I saw you. Without the noise, without the history, just you. He took me home, kissed me on the cheek at the door like a gentleman, and drove away. I went inside, changed into pajamas, and checked my phone. One text from my mom, your father and I are going to look into family therapy. We want you involved when you're ready. We love you, sweetheart. One text from Cassie, you win. I hope it was worth it. I didn't answer that one. There was nothing left to say. 6 months later, Daniel and I made it official. A year after that, he proposed on a beach at sunset. Simple. Just the two of us. I said yes before he finished asking. My parents were in the front row at our wedding. Cassie had moved to Portland by then. She sent a card, a generous check, a note that read, congratulations. You deserve every bit of this. I tucked the note in a drawer and didn't think about it again for a long time. Walking down the aisle toward Daniel, I realized that the plan that had brought us here, the strategy, the documentation, the months of pretending, none of that was the real story. The real story was simpler. I stopped being a background character in my own life, and the moment I did, everything changed. My sister slept with every guy I dated until I introduced her to my new boyfriend, who happened to be her ex-husband's divorce lawyer. And somehow, against all logic, that turned out to be the best decision I ever made.